Okay, hello, this is future editing me. I just tried to export this video and it will not let me because of this stupid first clip in this video. So I'm popping in to refilm it. So hello and welcome to my January and February wrap-up vlog, where I come to you after I finish a book and talk about it because I have the brain and the memory of a goldfish, so I never quite remember what a book is about. Lucky for you, I did just watch the clip that was supposed to be here, so I remember what this one's about. So the first book that I read in 2025 was The Wrong Family by Tarryn Fisher. This one I gave 4 stars. It's about 2 different women. I think it was Juno and Winnie. Juno moves into Winnie's family's home, and that family was always a family that she thought that Juno thought was prime, perfect family. Nothing could be wrong. And once she moves in, she kind of realizes that's not the case. She overhears a fight between Winnie and her husband where a big secret comes out, and she's trying to figure out if she should interfere, if she should do something about it, because the secret is not great. Maybe possibly illegal, and that is where the mystery pops in. And we unravel from there. It gets pretty crazy at the end, but I really enjoyed this one, and I'm glad that I finally got to it because I think I've had it on my TBR for like 3 to 4 years already. So to get it off is a great start to my year, and a 4-star is a great start to my year. So now we will go back to when I actually filmed this, because hopefully the rest of the video is fine. But enjoy. I was at the bookstore and I obviously know what this is gonna look like. I saw it, I touched some, but I haven't opened one yet. I'm from Canada, so I got the Indigo exclusive edition, which is probably like the same as Barnes & Noble's. I don't know that for sure, but it's got the pretty sprayed edges. And I love. It doesn't have anything, oh, that was a crack. It doesn't have anything on this part on like the cover or anything, but then it has on inside the continent. This is such a pretty edition. I'm so glad they actually did something with this one, because Iron Flame was literally just black sprayed edges, and I can't believe they just did black sprayed edges after the first one and how crazy everyone went for the sprayed edges on Fourth Wing. I will go put it on my shelves when I'm done, but I saw someone put it next to their copies of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and it just looks so beautiful. So I'm so happy about that. I also picked up this bookmark when I was in there. Oh, ignore the out of breath that I just walked up the stairs. That's a workout, you know? It's pretty much the end of January, not quite yet. I have a couple of days left. But I realized I never came and talked to you guys about a book that I read this month. Not ideal, but I read The Cruel Prince finally, or I should say I finished this finally. I have been reading this for months, and I finally like prioritized it and actually just sat down and read it. This one's about Jude, who is a human in like the Fae world. When she was quite young, her mother and father were killed by this Fae. I don't remember what his role is, but this Fae man, and he took her and her 2 sisters back with him to the Fae land because her oldest sister is his daughter. So he takes them back, and everyone hates humans there, so they're kind of treated like crap, even though basically her dad figure, he has pretty high standing, but they still hate all his girls because they're human. She kind of just wishes she was normal to them, and she wants to be part of the high court and be a knight, but that would just be kind of crazy, obviously. but no one thinks she can do it, and that's her goal. She wants to have a place at the court and be a knight, so that's what she's striving for. She's training for it, and she gets bullied a lot because of it, because she's human, and how could she be part of the court as a human? So yeah, I end up enjoying this one. It is in a different video. It's in my first episode of TBR Breakdown, so if you want to check that out, I will link it down below, and I'll try and remember to put it in the cards. But I enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. It took me a while to get into, so that's what brought it down, but once I was in it, I enjoyed it, and I'm interested to see how this series continues, like what the storyline's gonna be, because it obviously changed a lot throughout this book. And the romance, because I know people really like it, but it was very early days for this in this one. So hopefully I'll finish one more book before the month ends, so I'll hopefully see you again. Hello, it's been a while since I finished a book, so this wrap up is going to be January and February, because it's currently February 1st, not 1st, February 5th. I finally finished Onyx Storm. I'm sad it took me this long to read. Everyone was saying the end was so sad, and there is one part that I teared up at. So I didn't want to listen to it while at work, which is normally when I'm listening to my audiobooks, so I kept putting it off. And then I finally just finished it last night. If you don't know somehow, this is the 3rd book in the Fourth Wing series. I forgot what it's like, Empyrean series, is that what it's called? With the pretty stenciled edges. I enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars in the end. Was it like incredible to me? No. Is part of this ending not exactly like the ending of the 2nd book? Part of it. That was part of the reason that I didn't love it. The very, very ending thing that we find out is low-key crazy and wild. Was it like the most entertaining thing the whole way through? No, either. But I enjoyed it. I'm making it sound like I didn't, but I did enjoy it. It was good. I just think maybe the hype around these books don't do it any favors, because it makes my expectations to be huge, and the first book has made my expectations to be huge. So it hasn't worked out for these books since Fourth Wing. That's the only thing, really. I do feel like maybe it's getting dragged out a little too long, is maybe what it is. Because I think there were some parts that probably could have been snipped out of this one and Iron Flame. But I think this is supposed to be like a 5-book series. So that might be part of it. But I always enjoy the characters in these books, and I always want to get more from the side characters. And so I did like a little bit at the end. We got some other people's POVs, and I did like that. I'll always love the dragons in this series. Like, they are definitely the highlight for me personally. So I'm glad I read this like right away. It only took me like 2 weeks. Iron Flame took me like months and months to actually make my way through it. I kept starting it but not finishing it. So I'm glad I have read it while it's like new and exciting. And the audiobooks for these are so good. I love them. So I am still enjoying this one. I'm just interested to see what's gonna happen in the 4th and 5th one, because I really don't know what like our end result. Like, I just don't know what could be happening in 2 more books. I don't know. I should be watching people's like spoiler vlogs now, and because I know I've missed stuff. One, I listen to this at work partly, so then I do miss stuff a little bit with that, but also I'm still in my early stages of fantasy, and so sometimes I don't know what they're talking about. The words, the terms, I don't know, and I don't remember things from like the 1st and 2nd book, that's for sure. So I know I missed stuff because of both of those. Sometimes I still just don't pick stuff up on like fantasy reads. So, and like the political aspects of fantasy reads. I don't think I'm a lover of political stuff in fantasy, but I'm not a hater. I could maybe develop the love for it or develop a hate for it in certain books, but I think it really depends, and sometimes I didn't like it in this. It felt like blah 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 wah wah wah, like, okay, I'm bored. Let's have Violet and Zayden meet. You know what I mean? I enjoyed this one. I finally read another book, and I'm hoping February will be a better reading month for me than January was. Long time no talk. Actually, I don't remember when I talked to you guys. It's February 12th, and I've done a lot of reading, so I need to catch you guys up because I just did a 24-hour timer challenge vlog video, and if that's up, I will link it down below. 5 books, so let's get into my thoughts about them. If you want my more in-depth thoughts for each of these, definitely check out that vlog, because this will be a quicker run through since I have 5 books to talk to you guys about. But I have 10 Rules for Faking It by Sophie Sullivan. This one's like a contemporary romance about a girl who's had really bad birthdays throughout her life, and she's just got a lot of issues going on right now. But on this particular birthday, she found her boyfriend cheating on her. She goes to work, which happens to be at a radio station and she's a producer, and the DJ, who is also her best friend, is live, and she is coming in and complains about her ex and all her dating problems, and it turns around for her because everyone's kind of rooting for her now. They set up like this dating show for her on the radio, and then her boss Chris, who she thinks he hates her because of all this, they get more connected, and there's the romance there. But I gave this one 3 stars. There's one thing, I just read my Goodreads review for it. There's one thing at the end that made me lose a whole entire star for this book because it was so cringy. Something to do with a squishy cat. I'm sorry, it was so annoying to me. It was so cringy to me. So I ended up enjoying this for the most part. It dragged a little bit for me, and yeah, it's just middle of the road, so I gave it 3 stars. Maybe close to 3.5. Then I finally read Mile High by Liz Tomford, and this is a hockey romance about the bad boy Evan Sanders, I think his name is, a fighter hockey player who has this reputation of having like basically taking a new girl home every night. And then he meets Stevie, who is a flight attendant for his hockey team, and they have like a bad first impression, but he kind of makes it his mission to annoy her, which brings them closer. It's somewhat forbidden romance because the players and the flight attendants cannot mingle, or else the flight attendants will lose their job. I loved this one. It was so good. It was so entertaining. It's beautiful, and I know this is people's least favorite in this series, so I really enjoyed it. So I'm thinking the rest of the series is gonna be amazing. First in the Windy City series. This one, it got 5 stars from me. Maybe it's like a 4.5, but I'm very much okay with it showing up as a 5 on my Goodreads. Then I read Beach Read by Emily Henry finally. This is the copy I have, the mass market paperback. But I listened to the audiobook for this one. This one's about Augustus and January. They know each other from a previous life, and they're both writers, and they're kind of both dealing with some writer's block. They're both neighbors on this beach. They don't like each other, but they decide to switch genres and like have to write the other one. So Augustus has to write like a happily ever after romance, and January has to write like kind of like a pretty depressing book. They take each other on adventures to do research for their genres. So, and then, you know, one thing leads to another. I enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. Definitely did not live up to the hype, I guess I would say, but that's just because So many people love this, but 4 stars is really good still. It just was not my favorite Emily Henry. I definitely like Happy Place and Funny Story better, which is probably an unpopular opinion, but it was good. Nothing like super wrong with it. But then I read Only If You're Lucky by Stacey Willingham. This is a mystery about a girl, our main character, what's her name? Margot. She's going into her first year of college, and a couple months previous, one of her best friend, who was like her number one, pretty much her only real friend, died. And so she's still dealing with all of that grief. She goes through her first year of college, kind of not finding her people, until Lucy, who is this really popular girl, comes up to her and says, "You should move into our house with us," which is her and her 2 friends. And it seems out of nowhere, Margot decides to make this change and goes and lives with them and kind of lives a whole different kind of life, having a group of friends. They're friends with a bunch of frat guys and all that. And then one day, one of the frat guys turns up dead, and Lucy ends up missing. We kind of go back and forth within like a year, nothing too much. There is a lot that all of them don't know about each other. Secrets are coming out. I enjoyed this one. It wasn't bad. I gave it like 3.5 stars, which is a pretty decent rating. I didn't love the ending. There's something at the very end that I feel it's just like a trope or an ending for mysteries that I don't love, and that's just me, so it's nothing wrong with the book. Just personal preference. Maybe it was just dragging a little bit at certain points, but there were quite a few twists in here that I didn't actually see coming, to be honest. Some I did, but there were quite a few twists in this, so I'll give it that. Not like groundbreaking, but just not what I expected. And then finally I read Praise by Sarah Kate. I read it on Kindle Unlimited, the first in the Salacious Players Club series, and we follow Charlie / Charlotte and Emerson. Charlie was dating Emerson's son, and then she goes to Emerson's place to pick up like the security deposit, and she had never met Emerson, so there was a mix-up of who she was, and it kind of ends up in her getting a job there as his secretary, and he owns like a sex club. Things just develop between them there, so it's ex-boyfriend's dad and a trope. And I enjoyed this one for the most part. I think this one dragged quite a bit. My main issue with it, I don't know, the pacing felt weird in multiple ways for me. Obviously I'm not going to a smutty book for like the greatest plot, but there was some good plot points in this. I wish you got to see the club a bit more. I think we were only there like 3 times. It just didn't feel like the main part of the story, a big part of the story, and I wanted it to be a bigger part of the story. There was also some like probably cringy parts in here, but like with smut sometimes you can just, but there wasn't real smut until like 50% in. There was like a couple here or there that were a little like getting there, but not quite. So it did take a while for that to happen, but I enjoyed it. But it felt like I was slugging along at a certain point. So I am feeling really good about how much I've read this month so far. I know over the next 5-6 days I'm not going to be reading that much, so that's why I wanted to do this challenge. It felt like the perfect time to get a lot of reading in. So I'm hopeful that I can finish my February TBR. I still have 2 books on it. That's my update. I'll see you guys when I finish another book. Hello, it is February 22nd. I've read a couple more books, and honestly I forgot I read the one, so that's why I haven't updated you on it yet. But first I read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I think this is my least favorite one. I haven't read like her older books, but out of her books since Beach Read, this is my least favorite one. If it was because I was listening to it quite a bit when I was doing other stuff, but I do listen to audiobooks while I'm doing other stuff all the time. But I don't know if I was just like extra distracted, but I felt like I could get distracted way easier with this one, and I was kind of bored. Could I even really tell you what it was about now? We've got a girl and her sister, and she's really protective over her sister because their mom died, and ever since their mom died, and her sister is pregnant and wants to go on this trip. So they go to this town. The main character is an agent or something for authors. One of the books that she worked with was set in this town, so her and her sister go to this town and kind of have this list of all these small town romance things that they want to happen. And when she's there, she runs into this book editor, Charlie, that she had like a not so great interaction with previously. And yeah, like a romance ensues from there, and she's dealing with issues with her sister. She feels like her sister's hiding stuff from her. All this. I feel like I don't even know what I read. I just thought it was really boring. I don't know. It just was not it for me. Didn't feel like I really liked any of the characters. I don't know why I have my headphone in. I gave this one 3 stars, but in my review on my Goodreads I put it as a 2.5, and I'm not really, it was very middle of the road, and I probably could have DNF'd this one, but I decided not to, so yeah, wasn't for me. Randomly on my skip the line for my library, Book Lovers popped up, and also Loud, Accept Nothing Less Than the Life You Deserve, The Queen Drew. So this one is kind of a story about her. I don't know how they describe it, but part of it's about her, but part of it is her talking about like things that she always kind of talks about: sexism, misogyny, bigotry, kind of that stuff. And all of that stuff was kind of getting repetitive and a little bit boring for me, but I don't know if it's literally just because, it's probably because I'm talking about a lot of that stuff in school right now. So it kind of felt like I was listening to a textbook just because I already am reading about that all the time. But the parts about her and her life and how she's dealt with it was really interesting, and I enjoyed that. I don't really rate nonfiction. I don't tend to read a lot of nonfiction. I wanted to change that this year, so I've got that one down. But it was like good overall, and it was a quick read. So if you like her, you'll like this. Real reason I wanted to come on here is because I have a haul for you guys. I have a big box of books, and it's not that heavy. I mean, it's not super light, but I was expecting it to be heavier because there's a lot of books in here. So, in Canada, there was a tax break for a couple months, and don't even get me started on this, but I ordered these books in the last week of the tax break in order to get that tax break, because there was a tax break on books. And then I look a few days later, and they ended up charging me for the tax because they shipped it after the tax break was over, which is just such a scam. Like, I'm actually so mad about it because I ordered it before. Just, there's no warning. No one telling you that, okay, if this ships after tax, if we take our time in shipping this, we're gonna get you with the taxes. And I've tried to get help online and in store, and no one seems to care. So I didn't need to order these now, but whatever, I did, and it happened, and I had a gift card. But I am mad. And so truly I just have 2 series in this box, so let's get into it. I do kind of hate ordering books because they always pick bad ones, because I can already see marks on one of these. The rest of the Windy City series I already had. I can't think of what it's called. Mile High, and then I bought, was it Caught Up or something, the other day, and so I just bought these two. Right Move, which is the second one, Caught Up is the third one, and then this is the fourth one, and then the fifth one comes out in May. So I should pre-order that. The rest of Throne of Glass. I definitely don't have them in the right order, but right now I only have Throne of Glass and Assassin's Blade. Never read both of those. Loved them both, so I'm ready to continue on with the series. I bought all of the audiobooks because they were on like sale on Audible. They're like $5 each, which is not super cheap, but you can't get them. It takes forever for you to get the hold at the library. Everand here does not have them. There's that in the right order. One a month or something for the next, or maybe more, but whatever. So we've got Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire. I was gonna say last of the smaller books, but it's actually not that small. It's over 500 pages. So Crown of Midnight is the last of the small ones. Heir of Fire. When these first came out, I didn't know if I liked these covers, but they're so nice, so I don't know why I didn't know. Queen of Shadows. Empire of Storms. I think Queen of Shadows is the one that I saw. It has some marks on the top. You can't even see it in camera. Tower of Dawn, which is a beautiful cover. And Kingdom of Ash. I'll probably end up doing, it's floppy. I'll probably end up doing the tandem read. So, wish me luck when that happens. I'm really excited to continue on with this series, and I just think it's crazy how I never thought I would like this series, and then I read the first one and was obsessed. Well, I read Assassin's Blade first, so read that one, was obsessed. Throne of Glass, obsessed. So I'm just sad I'm gonna have to add this many books to my unread TBR because I was slowly getting it down. Anyway, that's my haul for now. Guys, it is the 24th. Yesterday I read another book. Sorry I look so tired. I read The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. I had a inventory shift at one of my jobs last night, so I listened to this the whole time. This one we follow Jane, who is hiding a lot of kind of secrets, and she's new in Birmingham, Alabama, and she mainly is in this one little neighborhood of really rich people, and she's trying to get into that life. She's starting that by being their dog walker, and everyone kind of talks about her for some reason. And then she meets Eddie, who is recently widowed. His wife is assumed dead with her best friend. They went to the lake one weekend and have never been found since. Boat was found, but they were not on it, and no one really knows what happened. And as Jane and Eddie start their romance, she is continuously thinking about his wife, B, and how she would measure up to her, because B was a really successful entrepreneur and just like fits in with the higher class ladies of this town. So she's constantly comparing herself to this girl that she's never known, but also is constantly thinking about her and whatever happened to her. This also says it's a twist on Jane Eyre. Couldn't actually tell you, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what happens in Jane Eyre. Sorry. so sorry. But I've had this one on my TBR for 3-4 years, and I finally got to it, so I'm glad I finally did. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I thought it was a fun, quick, easy, and good mystery. I didn't reinvent the wheel. There is something in here that I know happens in another book, but I can't remember what book it is. I tried to Google it and it didn't come up, but yeah, I enjoyed it and it was a solid. This was definitely better than Reckless Girls that I read by Rachel Hawkins, so that's good. I would recommend if you're just looking for a quick, easy domestic mystery. It's definitely domestic. So nothing too crazy is happening here. If you don't like a domestic mystery, you won't like this one, but if you're up for it, this is a decent one. I'm currently in the middle of 2 more books, so hopefully I'll finish them before the month is over. Like I said, it's the 24th. So we're getting to the end. Okay, this is editing me, so sorry I look all frazzled. But I didn't talk to you guys about one final book that I read in February, and that was The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. So I read 2 nonfiction in February, and I'm very proud of myself for that because I barely read any nonfiction. So to get 2 done in the first 2 months of the year, pat myself on the back. This is a self-help kind of book. As I mentioned when I was talking about Loud, I don't rate nonfiction really, so I didn't give this one a rating, but I enjoyed it overall. It was pretty good. At the end there was definitely stuff in here that I already knew, but there was also different stuff that I've never listened to. I have listened to Mel Robbins' podcast before, not constantly, but I enjoyed it and I'm glad I read it. Everyone has been talking about it since it came out. Or at least I've seen so much about it. I just think it's a good way to give you some motivation in life and just give you a little kick in the butt. I enjoyed it. I don't really have that much to say since I don't rate it and it's not fiction. It's just harder to talk about, but I wanted to mention that I read it because it went towards my reading goal for the year. So that's it for my January and February wrap up. I think every other month this year, hopefully it'll be an individual month wrap up, but since I read like 2 books in January, I wanted to bring them together. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. Comment down below what you read in January and February. And if you've ever read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, let me know what you thought of them. I will see you in my next video. Bye!